Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And today is Throat Punch Thursday.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Who's ready?
It's Throat Punch Thursday, bitch.
As Mike would say, that's what you get for wearing Ranger panties. Anyway, folks, Mike will be rejoining us. He had to take an emergency phone call, literally, just as the countdown was going on. He had to take a call. So for right now, it's going to be you. It's going to be me. We're going to have a good time taking all of your comments, commentary, all the stuff that you might want to talk about for the show. We encourage you to go ahead and give us a shout out. But, you know, we're going to have a good time nonetheless this fine Thursday because, look, we got tons of stuff to talk about. We're gonna have a real good time talking about it today. But before we do, we're gonna do like we usually do, and we're gonna start off with a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're gonna start with our friends over at Hitman Industries. They make rifle and pistol caliber barrels and that are available at any length. All you have to do is go to hitmanindustries.net. Now, if you've purchased an AR in the last few years, there's a good chance you already have one of their barrels, which means you probably like it. So why not get another one? So whether you're looking to do a brand new build or you're looking to rebuild your old rifle, start your journey, start your experience, start your project with Hitman Industries. Then we've got the California Republican Assembly working to help elect conservatives at all levels of government, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. Want to know why? Visit their website at cragop.org. That's cragop.org. And if you want to be a part of California's future today, you got to join CRA. And then we've got the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available on the market. That would be at hogholsters.com. Visit their website once again at hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Why is it spelled that way? Because they like helping Americans wear guns. So when you go there, check it out. When you find a holster you're going to like, because trust me, you will, make sure you use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces, one word, just like it is right up there, and you're going to get a nifty little discount on us. That's right, hogholsters.com. And then finally, now's the time to be upgrading your tactical gear. Weather's changing, times are changing, all the competitions are coming up. So get your agency together, get your group together, get your club together, whatever it is, get them together and go to uscombatgear.com. Now, uscombatgear.com specializes in group sales. They have a huge selection. They have very, very competitive pricing and the best customer service out there on the market. You're going to want to check them out. Go to uscombatgear.com, the place where you can find all things tactical except the gun. Now, I also want to encourage you, if you are watching this program live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and I see that there are several of you out there that are doing it, we're taking your comments. We would love to hear what you have to say, either about today's program, about maybe a past program. Maybe you're just wanting to chop it up. Give us a holler, like our friend, what is this? Colin Berg for Lieutenant Governor 2026, checking in, right? Look, we have candidates for Lieutenant Governor checking in, and just wanting to give us a shout out. Just wanting a shout out for their campaign. I don't know what state he's running in. But, I see he's got a cowboy hat in his profile, but he's watching this on Facebook. And he also says that the Second Amendment shall not be infringed. You see how easy that was? You say something that's interesting, and we'll let folks know about it, right? We will put it out there. And just so you know, you don't have to agree with us, right? You do not have to agree with us one bit. All you got to do is be interesting. And by the way, just know that if you do disagree with us, you're probably going to be interesting because we're going to be mocking you.
Oh, wow. Is that a mockingbird?
Man, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
Yeah, we will likely mock you. And it says here that Colin Berg for Lieutenant Governor is running in the state of California. Good luck on that, sir. Good luck on that. You and I will definitely have to chop it up sometime soon. Feel free to drop me a letter, drop me a comment in the DM. DM us. Hit us up in the DM, man. Would love to talk with you a little bit more, being as I am also from the state of California, or as I like to say, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. All right, let's go ahead and get into today's topics. And we're going to start off here talking about how, It's bad enough that those who are out there enforcing our laws, those who are out there enforcing our immigration laws, are being attacked. They're being attacked at multiple different ways. They're being attacked physically. They're being doxxed. Right? People are calling their homes. People are hitting them up on social media. They're going after their families. You've got politicians who are saying that they're not real cops, which, by the way, is in no small part encouraging people to do this. Now, these folks, by the way, also are out there doing their job, right? They are enforcing the law, and they're doing their job in very, very hostile environment and hostile situations. And what's happening now is you have local electeds in 4 different states. You have 4 different state groups of officials who basically want to make it so that these folks, once they're no longer, or if they are no longer ever working for ICE, they will never be able to get another job ever again. That's right. That is their goal. Their goal is to make it so that these folks will never be able to work again because they chose to work for ICE, because they chose to enforce our laws. This being reported by the folks over at The Guardian says here, Democrats in 4 states seek to bar ICE employees from future civil service jobs. Let me read a little bit of here. It says, supercharged by billions in dollars from Congress, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, otherwise known as ICE, has hired thousands of new officers to carry out Donald Trump's mass deportation campaign in an effort it likened to wartime recruitment. In several states, Democratic lawmakers want applicants to think twice about taking part. Bills introduced in recent weeks in legislatures of at least 4 Democrat-led states would impose long-term consequences for new ICE employees by rendering them ineligible for jobs in law enforcement, public education, and in their most expansive form, the entire state civil service. None of the proposals has been signed into law, and potential legislation may face legal challenges. The bills nonetheless underscore Democratic state lawmakers' determination to undermine Trump's hardline immigration policy, even as similar efforts in Congress that resulted in the Department of Homeland Security shutting down faces uncertain prospects. Quote, if you're an ICE agent, you're signed up to engage in unlawful conduct. You're signed up to engage in racial profiling. I apologize if I keep messing up. My thing keeps moving here. Or you're engaged to sign up in illegal detentions and deportations of people who have legal rights in this country. You are signing up for the separation of families and children. Democratic New Jersey Assemblyman Ravi Bala told The Guardian. Earlier in February, he introduced legislation that would effectively bar from state and local government employment anyone who joined ICE between September 2025 and the expected final day of Trump's term, 2029. If you make the decision, there will be consequences if you seek employment in New Jersey, Bala said. DHS spokesperson Tricia McClellan, accused lawmakers of proposing these bills of falsely casting federal enforcement as villains while ICE officers are being targeted, threatened, and doxxed simply for doing their jobs. To most Americans, ICE officers are heroes, she said. After Trump returned to the White House last year, Congress's Republican leaders moved quickly to provide ICE and other federal agencies money to make good on the president's campaign promise of deporting undocumented immigrants. Now, I'm looking down here to see what other states are doing this. It says here they've got Maryland, Minnesota, because they're talking in Minneapolis, Washington State, and in California that is happening as well. And once again, these are folks who are simply doing their jobs. Now, the interesting thing is that you saw the mode that these congressmen are taking. They're saying, oh, well, they're breaking the law. Well, so far as I know, they're not breaking the law. So you're lying. I don't know. I just think one, these things are not going to pass legal muster. But the problem is that it gives an air of legitimacy when these folks say, oh, well, they're breaking the law. Well, no one would allow you to introduce a bill saying they're breaking the law if they're not breaking the law. I personally think that once again, these people who are introducing this legislation in these state legislatures, they need to be brought up on federal charges.
Craig, it's the same thing that we talk about when we talk about creating unconstitutional gun laws. Is that these congressmen, these state level, all of these politicians enjoy, absolute immunity. They get to go in there and do what they want and say, "Oh, it's for the good of the people," and whatever else they're doing for their next campaign. They need to be just under the Harlow Supreme Court case reduced down to qualified immunity, just like our public servants have, our law enforcement servants have, where they're okay as long as they don't break the law or violate somebody's civil rights. Well, guess what? You've just taken a class of people and discriminated against them and put it into a law. I can't think of a better circumstance, Craig, to hold these people accountable. But they got absolute immunity. They could say, well, we were doing it for the good of the people. We thought it was the right thing. Bullshit. You were doing it for campaign.
Well, and even on top of that, I think even just proposing it would be enough for them to be brought up on. It would be enough in that case to have them brought up on charges. But that's the problem is when you do something in the vein of as a part of an elected official, you have that immunity. I think that it's time for that to stop, especially when I am 100% sure that their legal counsel, and every legislature has legal counsel, they're supposed to tell them if their bill is constitutionally questionable. And if you know that your bill is constitutionally questionable, that's something that you likely should not be proposing.
Yeah, and listen, they know better legally, right? And I forget what the number breakdown is. I know at the U.S. House and Senate, it's a very high number of lawyers that are up there that are percentage wise. In the state house, it's less, but it's somewhere around 50%. So it's not like they're doing this without even ever talking to legal counsel. Just the House legal rep. It's absolutely ridiculous to say that. Well, we didn't know.
Yeah, it is beyond ridiculous for them to make those claims. And once again, I will just continue to say it. It just goes to show, and it's part of a theme. And this is something that I think we all need to listen to, because this theme right now that basically Trump set in motion, really, I mean, when he said, if you agree with this statement, stand up, that the primary purpose of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal immigrants. And all the Republicans stood up and every single Democrat remained seated. They were telling you something. They're not even smart enough to know that what they were telling you is you don't matter to them. You don't. You don't matter one little bit in their eyes. And and that's a problem. That is a major problem. And hopefully voters get it.
They don't care about you. All they want to do is come up with these lies to where they can stay in power and get your vote.
Yes. That pretty much is what it is. And, y'all are going to have a chance. And by the way, I would love for someone to just say, you know what, if you got arrested in one of these protests, I would love for someone to pass a bill that say you will never, ever, ever, ever get a government job, ever. You will lose government employment. I'd like to see that in some of these Republican states. You will lose your employment. You will get fired, and you will never get another government job in that state ever again. And that, by the way, is something you can do.
Yeah, that is in some states. Some states you can't be convicted of a felon or a crime of moral turpitude and hold office.
That would definitely be nice to see, but I doubt that it will happen.
Well, you'll never see it in California. I mean, not unless you get that Republican governor to win.
Yeah, there you go. Well, then we got a lot of legislators we got to deal with. Got to fix them.
Hey, put them in jail one at a time.
There you go. All right, folks. Next up, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there was basically for lack of a better term, a snowball fight. People were basically decided that they were going to attack NYPD officers with snowballs. And I'm going to show you a little bit of the video here. And by the way, for anybody who thinks it's like no big deal to get hit with a snowball, well, let me just tell you, it is. But let me just show you the video here, what these officers had to endure at the hands of citizens, if you want to call them that, there in New York City.
On the road! On the road! Oh, shit! Oh, yeah, you have a president! Yeah. Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Back up! Oh, shit! Back He back that shit out like a 40. He back that shit out like a 40. Yo, did you go to the top of this? 440. No, I'm talking. Did you go to the top of this? Yeah. I went to the birthday. Oh, shit!
Well, so as it turns out, one individual has been arrested for for this thing that occurred in Washington Square Park. You see here, you know, even in the story, it's showing you a bunch of more snowballs. All these people, and what's stupid is these people don't realize. Yeah, there's video of all of y'all throwing snowballs, and that, by the way, that is assault, right? You see those big old chunks of ice being thrown at people. Anyway. It says here, NYPD arrested and charged a man for his alleged role in a snowball fight that injured two NYPD officers in Washington Square Park earlier this week. Jasmine Kalalabi, whatever, 27, was arrested Thursday morning and was charged with assault on a police officer, obstruct government administration, and disorderly conduct. He hid his face from photographers as he left the 6th precinct. What he should have done was hid his face before he started throwing snowballs at people, at cops. Anyway, he is the first of at least 4 people identified from cell phone video to face charges after Monday's melee in Washington Square Park, where 2 NYPD officers were injured and several others were covered in snow and ice. And it says here, Kathy Hochul applauded the arrest, but let's be honest, her and her Democratic colleagues are all part of the same propaganda machine that's encouraging people to do this to law enforcement.
You know, Craig, I've talked to a couple of NYPD officers since this started. Their attitude is, unless somebody's injured, they're not doing a damn thing. If the mayor wants to treat the city like this, the mayor wants to turn his back on the police, law enforcement. Well, the police are going to turn their back on doing law enforcement work for him. You know, this is despicable. Obviously, because of the mayor's attitude. Again, respect for law enforcement is gone. Because of the governor's attitude, respect for law enforcement is gone. So the agency has decided to hell with them. Let them police themselves. Let the zoo be a zoo.
Yeah, no. Well, the problem though is that there are a lot of New Yorkers who support NYPD who are counting on them. And the hard part is I know there's a lot of cops who I don't know. I know they don't want to support Kathy Hochul, but at the same time, should they be leaving the people of New York who actually are counting on them, should they be leaving them hanging?
Those are the people that voted him in.
Well, there
Elections
you go.
have consequences.
Well, there you go. So basically, Mike is saying, look, if you're in New York and you better get elect better people, I guess. Don't know what to tell y'all. But it's tough. But the problem is that once again, these are people who are living in a community that if someone is shot, they're going to want the police to come. If someone's out there with a gun, if someone's out there wielding a knife, if someone's out there molesting their child, they're going to want the police to come. And the police the funny part is that now you're doing everything to discourage them from coming there. And they're not going to put themselves at risk, in particular for a community that is seeking to harm them.
Yeah. And listen, these are not just, it's not an innocent snowball fight, right?
No.
You saw they were
Right.
throwing giant chunks of ice, which is just like throwing a brick, at somebody.
Yes.
They were assaulting the vehicles. They're breaking vehicles with throwing stuff up. Listen, I saw them throwing snowballs, Craig, that were heavy and hard enough that they were breaking the back windows on the patrol cars.
Right.
If it's doing that, listen, these are felonies. These are felonies in my state. If we ever had a snowball, but you do anything that you do anything like that, then
we almost had a snowball on Monday. I'll tell you that. All we needed was some rain. It was kind of cold, but
it's despicable, and I have no issue with law enforcement turning their backs on these people. Look, you saw that crowd, Craig. There was nobody standing there saying, "Leave the police alone. Leave the police alone."
No,
White or black or Hispanic.
know that you are 100% correct. There was nobody standing there saying, "Leave them alone." I don't know. These guys, I just don't understand. All these guys want to do is protect you, and all you want to do is attack them. Well, then you get what you get, and you can't complain when they don't show up. I don't know what to tell you.
All those NYPD officers, state of Florida, the governor's going to give you $5,000 if you come down here and be a cop. Most agencies have bonuses, and they range anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 to come on down here. And you'll live at less than half the price. You can live wherever you want, drive whatever you want, and not have to deal with those idiots. Come on down.
I can tell you, having just left there, it'd be worth it.
Oh, listen, we've gotten in the last 2 years over it's 5,000 or 6,000 officers from the Northeast to come down here.
Right. Just if you're the person who votes for the Kathy Hochul's of the world, then do yourself a favor, do Floridians a favor, stay home, stay in New York or New Jersey.
Yeah, you stay there, but we'll take the PD, no problem.
Hey, American Crossfire's chiming in. They're watching on Rumble because evidently their YouTube channel got deleted.
Yeah, that sucks.
Sorry about that, American Crossfire. We went through it here too. We went through it here. We had our YouTube channel deleted. We eventually got it back because I guess they finally realized that COVID with a K really is fake.
Yeah, well, it's that damn COVID with a K. It goes with the fake mask I was wearing.
There you go. With the fake mask he was wearing. All right, this is a story. I got to be honest. I didn't know anything about this story, and it literally happened almost in my backyard, right here in Sacramento, California. You actually had an armed dad who stopped a mass shooting, and you didn't hear hardly anything from the mainstream media. When I say hardly anything, I mean you didn't hear anything. I read about this at Blaze Media. Actually, I first read about it at Bearing Arms, and they referred to the story over at Blaze Media. So no offense, Bearing Arms, but I got to give Blaze Media the credit, the initial credit. It says here, hero protects church full of kids. Off-duty cop disarms gun-toting suspect in Sacramento. It says a parent observer and off-duty detective stopped a gun-toting suspect outside a church packed full of kids. An off-duty detective thwarted what had all the makings of a potential church massacre last week in Sacramento. Brian Goddard, 20, dropped off a younger relative at St. Mary Parish School on Wednesday morning, then allegedly returned around 9:30 a.m. when St. Mary Catholic Church was in the process of holding an all-school Ash Wednesday mass next door. Amy Hale, principal of the school, indicated that all church doors were locked per our standard procedure, and parent observers were positioned outside and inside the church. One of the parent observers, an off-duty detective, intercepted a suspicious man who approached the front of the church and claimed he wanted to enter and attend Mass. According to Hale, the parent observer, quote, located and removed a loaded firearm concealed on the man's person. The observer then detained the suspect until officers from the Sacramento Police Department arrived on the scene. Principal Hale assured parents that their children remained in the church throughout the mass and that no students came into contact with the man. Now, I decided to look up the story and see if I could find anything. And here you have something from USA Carry, CBS News, which is actually, this is the local affiliate, the New York Post, which is now actually the California Post. Obviously, it's conservative. But you look down here, KCRA, local. Fox 40, local. Facebook, ABC 10, local. And you notice not one federal story about a potential mass shooting that was stopped at a church in Sacramento, California. Now, considering the number of mass shootings and active shooter situations that have been, in particular at church schools or that have involved church schools, you would think this would have been something noteworthy to report on. But the mass media, well, says nay, nay.
Yeah, I mean, do we have to go there, Craig? It doesn't meet the narrative. They're not going to pick it up. You're going to see it local because it's local news, and they would be neglectful if they didn't do that. But it does not meet the narrative. And add to the point that this is a off-duty law enforcement officer. They don't care at all. We just talked about their disdain for law enforcement in the last story. Why would they care about law enforcement doing their job? Why would they care about an off-duty person carrying a firearm, doing church security, stopping a mass shooting? It doesn't meet their narrative at all.
Well, and if you're wondering why so often you don't hear about stories of good guys with the guns stopping these mass shootings, it's because usually, especially when it happens, when there's someone present, they're usually able to stop it before anyone gets shot or before the requisite 4 people, because that's what it takes to have a mass shooting. That's what it takes for them to stop it. Now, this won't go down in any of the records books as someone stopping a mass shooting, right? All it's going to go down as is, well, an armed suspect was detained. And so the facts of what happened will actually be ignored. And the gun grabbers will continue to push their false narrative.
Yeah, this is what you're going to get. Now, listen, there's some good places out there, Firearms Research Center, they'll pick it up and it'll be part of their stats, but it'll be reported nowhere. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Anyway, just want to say thank you, and it's interesting that they didn't name who the dad was. Would really have liked to have known that, because dude deserves a hand. The people who manage the church, the people who manage this program, once again, having locked doors, having observers, want to give a hats off to them over at the church, because sadly you got to do that now. You got to make sure that people are protected, and I really appreciate the fact that they did that, because not only did the guy who observed it save lives, the people who put him in place to be able to do what it is that he did, those folks also saved lives.
Yeah, Craig, I'll be curious to see if what his agency does, if they reward him or discipline him for this.
I would be very surprised. First of all, it doesn't say what agency he works for. They called SAC PD, but it didn't say what agency. So
right.
I would be surprised if any law enforcement agency would have said anything, because, correct me if I'm wrong, you know more about this than I do. My understanding that law enforcement, they have a duty, they have a legal obligation to engage in situations like this, don't they?
They do, but this sounds like he had, even if it was volunteer, he had employment outside of his agency involving his firearm. So they may go after him for that. Well,
there are plenty of I don't think any of the local agencies that I know of have any restrictions in regards to that, because there are plenty of off-duty officers around here that allow you to do. Okay,
I guarantee you they all do. Craig, I guarantee you every one of them has a policy on taking up armed employment somewhere else without permission of the your executive there.
Oh,
guarantee you.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: hopefully, he bothered to get permission.
No, and even if he didn't,
Yeah.
this is he stopped a mass shooting. What are you going to do?
Yes,
Fire him?
exactly.
Wouldn't be amongst some of those agencies. Craig, before you go into parting shots, I did send you. I did get some other video I sent you of a snowball fight there in New York that people were injured.
Oh, here we go. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Okay, the only issue is I don't know if let me see if I can get the sound on here.
It might work without the sound. I think you could just see it,
There we go.
But, well, there it is. Look at that. Look at this. These aggressors. Oh, look at them coming at him.
There you go.
Ow! It leaves a mark, right?
Oh yeah.
Don't worry.
Oh yeah. We gotta put them in NYPD outfits.
Yeah. Look. He can come back. Look at those kids. Look at those hooligans. See? Yep.
You know, Mike, what's funny is they hate NYPD and they hate Christmas.
They hate Christmas. They hate elves.
They
Christmas,
do.
Even full-size elves.
That is
Full-size elves.
That is horrible. The assault on this is part of the war on Christmas, isn't it?
This is it. This is because he's a Muslim and they're going after Christmas. But don't worry. He got elf magic coming up right now.
What's funny is I hear you talking, but I can also hear the whoa. Okay. Oh, he's ready. There you go. Now that is a snowball fight.
That's it. Yep.
Although I think if that's taking place in New York, I think that's not only is that a high capacity snowball thrower.
Yeah.
Yes. I do believe it's automatic. So I do
Yeah.
believe that would cause problems.
Yeah. That's
I do not know if it
open
would be
carry.
legal.
I think that's open carry also.
All right, here it goes.
There you go. See? Cause injury. Yeah.
That was nice. That was nice. Thank you for sharing that, Mike. I feel
Yeah, I got that from NYPD. So
you got that from NYPD. They're training now, right?
they're training now.
All right, folks. So that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word, and get your Hog Holster today. All of our parting shots today will be brought to you from the our friends over at the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can trust. All right, our first one here, well, let's just say it's kind of interesting because, how do I want to put this? You know that right now Trump is trying to crack down on fraud, waste, and abuse, but he's kind of overdoing it a little bit. And according to the folks over at the Babylon Bee, in fact, it says here that cruel Trump administration strips funding from gas station daycare center with 20,000 students.
What? That's horrible.
That is horrible, isn't it? Yes, that is most definitely horrible. But not quite as horrible as this. It says here, politician on Epstein list grilled by another politician on Epstein list.
Yeah, that's going to happen quite often as these hearings, Epstein hearings go on.
Yes, it is definitely going to happen quite often. And then finally, devastating Black New Yorkers unable to shovel driveways as none of them have an ID.
So racist, making them have IDs to get a job.
I swear, the folks over at the Babylon Bee, I don't know how you come up with so many funny things every single day.
The alcohol.
All right, folks. Well, that brings us to the end of our show. But before we go, we're going to give one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yep, Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Get on over there, get yourself some AR barrels. They got rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire for your next AR build or rebarrel your current AR platform. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, snowball fights, whatever it may be, get your group together, get your agency together. Place an order at uscombatgear.com where you can get everything except the gun.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to be it once again for today's show. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Free for All Friday. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we will see y'all mañana.